It is Mixed Community Connection. My name is Susan Korgul, and today I'm joined with Lisa Barr, Executive Director for Hope and Help, and also Josh Myers, Development and Communications Director. Thank you guys for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having us. We're very excited to be here.
Yes.
Starting off a new decade.
Of course. 2020, already here. It's going to be a good year. I can feel it. So, Lisa, for those people who don't know about Hope and Help, tell us a little bit about it and how it got started.
Oh my, we've been serving the community, the Orlando metro area for 32 years now.
Wow.
And we started in a church basement as a group of friends who were supporting another friend who was dying of AIDS. And from that early beginnings, we are now a full-service health clinic. We've got 3 medical providers, 7 exam rooms. We're doing soup to nuts. We do prevention and outreach education on the front end. If someone is diagnosed with HIV and STD or hepatitis C, we immediately link them into care and make sure that their medical needs and other social service needs are taken care of.
So it's you provide everybody with all of the resources where they can go and who to seek help from and things like that if you can't.
And we actually provide the services.
Oh, great.
So we provide labs. We do your medical, primary care, specialty care for HIV, hepatitis C, and STDs, as well as HRT, which is for the transgender community. We are going to be starting mental health the end of this month, early next month. So our goal is to have all the services necessary for someone to who is diagnosed with or who is working to prevent HIV infections so they can get all their services under one roof. One of the issues that we've seen is if you have to run all over town and you're working a hourly job, you may have to lose an entire day of work just to get your medical appointments in. So by having it in one location, one appointment, we're working very hard to make sure it's very efficient, very streamlined, and you can get everything done in one location. And you can leave with a bag of food because we also have an emergency food pantry.
No way. Oh, that's incredible.
It is. We're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish in the community, and we're the largest and oldest AIDS service organization. And we're really transitioning out of the word AIDS because it's something that we don't see as often. HIV infection has gone from a terminal disease, which typically went into AIDS, to now it's a long-term chronic disease. And we're helping people manage that.
Now, how do people just walk into Hope and Help, or do they have certain ages? Like, what's the lowest in age that you've seen people come in for help?
We will serve people 13 and up.
Okay.
We also, and there's no upper limit. So
right.
we have folks that go from 13 to late 80s, early 90s. We also have support groups that are really extensions of the social circle, more than a support group. So we've got groups that do bowling and education, and they'll have the head of the health department come in and talk about things that are going on in the community as far as the health department's concerned, as well as the drug reps that come in and talk about the new medications and what's available for folks. So we're trying to do as broad as possible, but still our core is the HIV community.
Of course. Now, do you happen to see, because you deal with 13 and up, do you happen to see any parents or moms that come in that have maybe passed it on to their children?
Very, very seldom.
Okay.
What has happened is there was a program in the late 80s, early 90s called the Hug Me program, which was a record-breaking, nationally award-winning program that was created to eliminate the transmission from mother to child. And the testing that they've put in for pregnant women has virtually eliminated that, as long as people are in care. So that in-care portion is the biggest key to helping us get in front of this HIV epidemic is what we are in this area. Unfortunately, Florida still is ranked number 1 in the nation. The Orlando metro area is number 2 in the nation for both
Wow.
HIV infections and AIDS cases.
Holy cow.
So we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
We really
for sure.
I'll add that for all of our folks age 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, you don't necessarily need parental consent to come to our office to get tested and or treated. So we just want to make sure that they feel welcome and comfortable coming to our office. But it's important to know that you don't need parental consent to come see us.
And it's confidential, obviously.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm assuming that you do offer some sort of counseling as well, right?
There's very, very comprehensive counseling with any testing. So our health advisors, health educators are very skilled with walking an individual through what it means if you have a positive or a reactive test, or if you have a negative test. To make sure that you understand the risks involved and how HIV is contracted and how to protect yourself. And there are all kinds of new tools that are coming out in our prevention toolkit. For example, there's PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylactic, and I always mess that up, so I say PrEP, which is it's like a birth control. So anyone who is sexually active can take this pill as long as they take it as prescribed, and it virtually prevents the transmission of the HIV virus.
Wow.
There's also a PEP, which is the post-exposure, and that's for a 27-day regime in the event that there's been an exposure that you're just not sure of. So if you're qualified for that medication, that will keep the virus from taking hold.
Well, that's incredible.
So, and there are all kinds of new things. You know, we've got used to be in the very early days, hands full of medications, just to keep you healthy for a limited period of time. You know, now we're looking at one pill a day. So the advances that have happened over the last 30 years have just been tremendous.
Right. Now, we're actually really excited about something that's happening next weekend. Josh, tell us about the grand opening. Or reopening, I'm sorry.
Well, this is really exciting because this is the second grand reopening that we've had. 2 years ago, we reopened at Mendham Boulevard, and when we started a medical clinic, and we added a host of other new programs and services. We were reaching more people, and we bursted out of the seams there. So now we have a new property, 18,500 square feet, I believe.
Close.
And so it hosts all of our programs and services inside with a medical clinic, like Lisa said, 7 exam rooms, 4 meeting rooms for all of our case managers and our clients, lots of storage space. And one of my personal favorites is we have a nice support group space that's open to the entire community for anyone who's affected by HIV or living with HIV, and also a great event space as well. So we do lots of performances, meetings, trainings going on there, and we're able to rent that out to the public.
Nice.
So this is all going down on Friday, January 10th, 4 o'clock p.m., right at our new facility. It's 4122 Metric Boulevard. Or Metric Drive.
Metric Drive.
See, it's so new.
I didn't want to correct
so
you.
New. It's so new. Let me repeat or clarify. 4122 Metric Drive.
Now it works.
I'll jump ahead. So the new address is 4122 Metric Drive, Suite 800. We're right behind the Siemens building, no pun intended. And we're in Winter Park. Winter Park. 32792.
All day.
That's okay.
You know, you got to love where you work.
Of course.
And so we're really excited because this is an opportunity for us to open our doors to the entire community and to make our home their home. with all the services that we provide and the different levels of that, we have our medical providers, we have 2 doctors and an ARNP, then we have a host of case managers, and then prevention and outreach staff. This is an opportunity for the entire community to come and have a glass of wine with us and a toast of champagne, and also to learn about what's going on in your community with regard to HIV and STDs, and to find out how you can be a part of the movement to help prevent them. When we think of Orlando, we don't want to think of Orlando being number 2 in the nation for
Right.
HIV transmissions. We want to think of all the fun stuff, all the good things that we have going on, and we just want to use this as an opportunity to get all of the community engaged in the movement to end HIV and STI transmissions in Florida.
So you've been, Josh, how long have you been with Hope and Help?
Coming up on 4 years now.
Wow.
It's been an amazing journey. Every year there's a new growth, there's a new experience, and I get to work beside, one of my favorite people in the whole world, and see, I'm falling on her now. But it's been really a great, fantastic 4 years of showing the community all the different opportunities that they have to improve their health and to stay, connected with the resources we have here, and to share that with all their friends and family.
So, you did mention that you got to love where you work, and obviously you do, and you believe in the mission. Have there been any stories that have personally touched your life with the organization?
Oh, there have been every day. I've never really been a crier. Until I started working at Hope and Help. Now, Lisa thinks otherwise. Yeah. But until I started working at Hope and Help.
Oh,
well, yes. Not sensitive, observant.
Oh, okay.
It's a good thing.
It is a very good thing. But every day, there's a story of someone who has made a life-altering decision. Just the boldness and the confidence that people have to walk through our doors and say, I'd like to be tested for these diseases, and then I'd like to receive treatment. That's amazing. Think of the courage. A lot of people are concerned, am I going to be recognized when I go there? Is somebody going to try and take my picture? What we respond to all of that is, who cares? You're making a decision about your health.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to live with your health. That person who saw you,
probably here for the same
exactly.
Yeah.
And
well, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
We all had some fun,
Yeah.
and sometimes there's a bit of a concern that comes out of that. But thankfully, that's why Hope and Help is here. But there is one story that stands out to me. I remember sitting in our lobby one time, and I was talking with one of our staff members, and we had a teen come in, a little blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl, and she's about 13, 14 years old,
Okay.
and she came inside. We give out condoms. Last year we gave over 100,000 condoms for free.
That's
and
awesome.
personal lubricants. And so she came and got a bag and started grabbing a bunch of lube, and I'm like, well, she's a girl. Why is she grabbing all the lube? And then, curious me, I mosey on over to her, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'd love for you to sit down and talk to one of our health educators about, your sexual history, things that we can do to help you stay as healthy as possible. And what she said to me just kind of stood out, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit because she had been convinced by some of the boys at her school that if she had anal sex with them unprotected, or without a condom, that she, number one, would not get pregnant. Of course, that's true. But number two, that she wouldn't get any STD. And, that's exactly, that was my face, And I'm like, sweetheart, sit down.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
We need to have a talk. So I went and grabbed one of our female staff members. And I just opened up the conversation for her to talk with the female staff member. But basically, we're like, sweetheart, your butthole has a little bit more bacteria than your hoo-ha. Okay,
Yeah.
so that increases the probability of you contracting an STD. Okay, and it was a great educational moment for her, and she learned about her body, information that she didn't really learn probably in school, or maybe her parents didn't really talk to her. She learned information about how to have self-esteem and how to negotiate safer sex practices with those who you're doing it with. If she hadn't come through our doors, I'm not sure that she would have received this information.
Right.
And again, she's 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many other young girls are out there are compromising themselves just because
they're believing the guys.
Right. And shame on these guys. Well, I'm not trying to shame anybody.
Well, no. But
it's
she's
like,
obviously misinformed.
She's been misinformed, but she's been manipulated in the process.
Yeah.
So we want both of our girls and guys to know that you have to protect yourself and don't put anyone else in danger just because you want to feel good for a few moments.
Yeah.
It's not fair to yourself, and it's not fair to the person that you're with.
Right.
And STDs are real. Okay, and if you can avoid having to take an antibiotic over the next 7 to 10 days, then avoid it. Use a condom. Get in a monogamous relationship. Talk about safer sex with each other. We have a campaign that's going on. It's called Choose to Protect, and there are 4 main tenets of it that we promote. The first one is talking about sex. We need to normalize that conversation, talk with our family, talk with our friends, talk with your medical providers. The second is we want people to get tested. So you won't know what you have until you get tested and you get your results, and you're able to make a smarter decision about your health at that point. And then we also want people to use condoms. There are so many different types of condoms.
Yeah.
There are flavored condoms. There's insertive condoms that women use. There's traditional condoms that males use. There's big, small, different, type latex. The list goes on. So you just have to find what works between you and your sex partner or your partner. And then the last thing is PrEP, like Lisa talked about. It's a pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it's just a once-a-day pill that you take that protects you from contracting HIV by up to 99%.
Wow.
So when you add condoms and PrEP together, that's significant protection against HIV, and then the condoms will add extra protection against STIs.
Of course.
So we want folks to follow those 3 things: get tested, talk about sex, use condoms, and learn about PrEP.
Do we know if that PrEP is covered under insurance or no?
Most insurance providers do cover PrEP, and we have a PrEP clinic at Hope and Help, a program called PrEP Plus. So if you're unaware of what PrEP is, we educate you on what it is, and we get you enrolled within 72 business hours. Again, once you get on PrEP, it's significant protection against HIV. We take care of, with PrEP Plus, we take care of all of the behind the scenes, dealings with insurance providers, or we might negotiate that process for you so that you can just have ease of mind in knowing that you're already taking a great step to protect yourself sexually.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that, as we talk about all these measures, and going back to the young woman who was in our lobby, parents are not talking to their kids about sex because
it's taboo.
Well, it's taboo, and they may not know.
Right.
So, unless you're in this field, you may not know the ins and outs and what's available and what's not available and how to best protect yourself. So, we've really tried to encourage people to call and ask us. We'll come and present and have discussions with you and your children.
Really?
We'll have with parent groups, or if you want us to come to your Girl Scout or Boy Scout or your football team, basketball team, we have an entire staff who's qualified to come do that, because we want to help make sure that we're educating our kids.
Yeah.
They don't know what's out there.
Yeah. And you don't know what they're teaching in school anymore.
They're not teaching a whole lot,
Really?
because it's an abstinence plus curriculum in Orange County. So, it's up to the individual principal at each of the schools to determine what is actually discussed. And one of the avenues that we're taking is we're trying to identify peer ambassadors. So these are teenagers who are getting the education from us, getting the materials, and we send them back into the school, because it's much easier to have a discussion like that with your friends than it is with someone like me. So we're trying to find every avenue possible so that we can connect with people, just so we can educate them. One of my stories that my wife hates is when I go to the grocery and, there's a young person who's doing the cash register, and I'm like, "Hi, how are you today? When was the last time you were tested?" And they look at me in horror, and I'm like, I give them my card, and I'm like, you're a nice-looking young man or woman, and at some point, all of us are going to have sex at least once. Very few people in the world have not. It's all it takes is that one time. And there's no shame for that. It's human reality. That's part of our makeup. So we just want to make sure that people are safe, that they're educated, that they can make decisions based on facts and not something they've learned from their friends or from the internet, because typically they go to the wrong sites to learn those types of things.
There's a lot of misinformation.
It's
porn
ridiculous.
Websites. They're fun to watch, for various reasons for everybody. But you want to get your information from, trusted sources. People who have researched the disease that's out there, and who have good information to help you make smart decisions about your health.
Yeah, definitely.
And to know that the most healthy thing you can ever do is to be responsible for your own physical, mental, and emotional health.
Yeah.
And we want to be there to assist in any way we can. And if that is helping you talk with your parents, helping you learn to navigate between you and your partner, we've got tools to do that. And, how do you properly put on a condom? We have a team that can come out and absolutely show you how to do that. So that your partner may not even know that you're doing that. So there are all these things that we
can be discreet.
Right.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, if in fact you do come back with a positive HIV test, it is not the end of your life in any way.
Not at all.
I mean, it is a manageable disease now. And I think one of the things that you ask about a story that touched your heart, I had a former employee tell me once that being HIV positive was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Really?
Because it gave his life purpose. He's healthy, vital, very engaged with the broader community. He's doing wonderful work, and it gave him focus in his life that he didn't have before.
That's
so,
awesome.
There are all different kinds of ways to look at it, but there's nothing wrong with someone who's HIV positive. They've not done anything wrong. They're not being punished by God, which is another thing we hear a lot.
Yeah.
The stigma is the biggest disease that we fight. The stigma around being HIV positive is still alive and well, and there's no reason it should be.
Right.
And I want to jump back to the conversation with parents. Parents, your kids are sexually active.
Yes.
Whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah.
If they're not, they're going to be.
Or they're lying to you.
Right. I mean, I was years old when I lost my virginity, but I want to just throw some data out there. There's a study in 2017 by the Florida Department of Health that showed that 38% of students in one of our school districts had reported being sexually active. That's just self-reporting. So we don't know what the real percentage is for all the students who had been sexually active. Okay, so just talk to your kids and don't judge them. Don't make them feel bad for doing what's only natural. They're growing up. They're exploring who they are sexually, emotionally, and they're growing physically as well. So it's only curious to the human body to explore what that means. All we want to do, and we're not encouraging anybody to have sex. All we're doing is encouraging people to look at the resources available to make sure that they prevent an HIV or an STI transmission.
Yeah.
That means using condoms. That means having a conversation. That means talking about your self-esteem and how you feel internally. Because for the most part, when we're dealing with a lot of our youth, both boys and girls, they feel insecure. They feel threatened by social pressures. For a lot of guys, if you didn't, hit it, if you didn't make it, with this girl and that girl, and that, then you're not really a man.
Right.
You're less masculine. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And why would you try to do that and end up with a disease that you really can't do much about in the end? I mean, there is treatment available. Like once you get started with your HIV treatment, within a couple months you become undetectable, and what that means is that the amount of the virus that's present in your bloodstream is at its lowest peak, and you are consequently unlikely to transmit HIV to anyone else who is not living with HIV.
But there is no cure.
Right. There is no
At this
cure.
point, there is no cure.
Isn't it crazy that we do talk about people being like impressions that they would get from other kids or just worried about what people think of you. We stopped caring about that after 30. Isn't that a shame? Shouldn't we stop that way early on? And my mom used to tell me, she's like, don't worry about what they think. And I'm like, no, I have to.
Yeah, I don't even remember anyone's name from high school. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. It is not.
It's because you're so old.
And my memory is
I just
failing.
had to get
Thank
that
you.
in there. Yeah.
Are there any volunteer opportunities with you guys?
Yes, we have AIDS Walk Orlando 2020 coming up. That is Saturday, April 18th, and we'd love to have a team of volunteers, get kids to come out. If your company wants to volunteer, we have great opportunities to make sure that the event runs smoothly and everybody's happy.
And when's AIDS Walk?
AIDS Walk is Saturday, April 18th.
Okay, so we can get you in for that too.
Yeah, April 18th, and the walk starts at 9:30, but the event opens up at 8:30, so everybody can get registered and check in. For more information on that, go to aidswalkorlando.org.
Okay, and when is the grand reopening and open house again?
The grand reopening is Friday, January 10th at 4 o'clock, and the ribbon cutting ceremony will start at 5 o'clock. So come and have a nice glass of wine with us, meet our leadership team, our outreach team, medical providers, and get some information about HIV and STIs and how you can join the movement to end it in Florida.
Yeah, definitely. And for all the information on how we can contact you guys and if anybody wants information or maybe like a little seminar for their groups, where would they go?
You can visit us online at hopeandhelp.org. Again, that's hopeandhelp.org, or you can give us a call at 407-645-2577. Again, that's 407-645-2577.
And obviously it's all anonymous and everything. And
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So everybody can feel very comfortable with that. Lisa, do you happen to have any social media outlets?
Wow. I do. We have we have our Facebook site.
Okay.
We've got
Twitter, Instagram,
We got all of them then.
LinkedIn, and
LinkedIn,
YouTube.
yeah.
And our handle is at Hope and Help CF.
Okay, perfect. At Hope and, is that the and sign?
Spelled out. And.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. Did we touch base on everything?
I think so. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So thank you guys so much for coming in today and joining me. And hopefully we'll have a lot of people at your grand reopening.
Sounds
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much.
Susie.
Of
Always a
course.
pleasure.
Yeah, and have a wonderful new year, and please be healthy and
Thank
happy,
you.
and anything we can do, just let us know.
Yeah, and we'll make sure all of Orlando is as well.
Yay.